Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're tackling something that I know a lot of you struggle with.
Hair care.
Oh yeah, hair care can definitely be tricky.
It is. Especially with like a million products out there, all promising amazing results, right?
So many
It's
products.
overwhelming. But what if there was a way to like decode what your hair actually needs?
That would be amazing.
Right. And guess what? There is. It's all about something called hair porosity.
Ah, porosity. That's a big one. It
Yeah.
really impacts your whole hair care routine.
Okay, so before we get too far, I got to ask, what exactly is hair porosity?
Basically, it's all about how well your hair absorbs and holds onto moisture.
Huh. So that explains why some products work for my friends, but do absolutely nothing for me.
It could definitely be a porosity thing. Think of it this way. Every strand of your hair is covered in these tiny little scales called cuticles.
Cuticles.
Okay, like little tiles on a roof. And how close together those tiles are determines your hair's porosity. Like how easily water can get in and stay in.
Gotcha. So are there like different types of porosity? Yep. You've got low, medium, and high porosity.
Ooh, okay, tell me more.
So low porosity is like imagine a really tightly woven fabric.
Okay, tight fabric.
Water kind of beads up on top and it's hard for it to soak through.
Big skin.
Then you have medium porosity. That's more like a regular cotton t-shirt.
Okay, I get that.
It absorbs water at a good pace, not too fast, not too slow.
Goldilocks porosity.
Exactly. And then there's high porosity. Think of a loosely knitted sweater.
Ah, so the water goes right through.
Exactly. But it can also dry out super fast, too.
So basically, knowing your porosity is like having a cheat sheet for taking care of your hair.
Pretty much. It helps you pick the right products, understand why certain things work or don't work, and just overall, like, take better care of your hair.
Okay, I'm sold. I need to know my porosity. But how do we actually figure that out?
Don't worry, you don't need a lab or anything. There are some easy peasy tests you can do right at home.
At-home test. Awesome. I'm all about that DIY life.
Perfect. So the first one is called the float test.
The float test.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All you need is a glass of water and a strand of your hair.
Okay, that's easy enough.
Just drop the hair in the water and watch what happens.
What am I looking for?
If it floats on top, you probably have low porosity.
Those tight cuticles keeping the water out.
Exactly. But if it sinks pretty quickly, that usually means high porosity.
Because the water's rushing in through those gaps.
Yep. And if it kind of hangs out in the middle, not floating, but not sinking right away.
Medium porosity.
Steam you go.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What's the next test?
All right, this one is called the slip test.
The slip test. I like.
This one's all about feel. Take a strand of your hair and run your fingers up from the tip to the root.
Okay, got it.
If it feels super smooth, that usually points to low porosity.
Smooth cuticles lying flat.
Gotcha.
Right. Now, if you feel some little bumps along the way,
Yeah.
that could be medium porosity.
Interesting.
And if it feels kind of rough, almost like there are ridges,
High porosity.
you got it.
So we've got the float test and the slip test. What's our final porosity detective trick? This one's about observation. Just pay attention to how your hair normally acts after you wash it or put products in it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like, have you ever noticed water just beating up on your hair instead of soaking in?
Oh my gosh, yes. I always thought my hair was just weird.
It could be a sign of low porosity. Those cuticles are like, nope, not letting you in.
Wow, my hair's really good at setting boundaries.
And on the other hand, if your hair dries super fast, but then feels dry and kind of straw-like soon after,
Uh-oh.
that could be high porosity. It's absorbing the water quickly, but then losing it just as fast.
So it's like a moisture roller coaster.
Pretty much. And it can also lead to frizz and tangles.
Okay, I'm definitely starting to see how knowing my porosity can help me solve some of my hair mysteries.
It's all about understanding what your hair needs and then giving it the right kind of love.
Right. I'm officially hooked on the whole porosity thing. But what if the tests give me like mixed signals?
That can happen. Sometimes you might get different results depending on the test. That's why it's good to do all three. And also just think about your hair's overall behavior.
So like if one test says low, but the other two say high, I should probably trust the majority vote.
Exactly. It's all about gathering clues and seeing the bigger picture.
Love it. So now that we know the basics of hair porosity and how to test for it, are we ready to get into the specifics of what it all means for our hair care routines?
Absolutely. That's where things get really interesting.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's dive into each porosity type and see what it means for your hair care routine.
Perfect. Where do we start?
Let's start with a low porosity hair. Remember those tightly packed cuticles?
Yep. My hair is very good at setting boundaries, apparently.
Exactly. So low porosity hair can be a little stubborn when it comes to absorbing moisture.
Ah, so that's why my hair sometimes feels like the products are just sitting on top of it.
It could be. And then you get product buildup, which can make your hair look dull and kinda lifeless.
Not cute. Okay, so what can we do if we have low porosity hair? How do we get the moisture in?
The key is to choose the right products. You want lightweight, water-based stuff that won't just sit on top of your hair.
So like lightweight leave-in conditioners and watery serums.
Yep. And when it comes to shampoo, clarifying shampoos are your best friend.
Clarifying shampoos. I've heard of those, but honestly not sure what they do.
They're like a deep clean for your hair. They get rid of all the product buildup and hard water minerals that can clog up those cuticles.
So it's like hitting the reset button on your hair.
Exactly. You're giving your hair a fresh start so it can actually absorb the good stuff.
I've always been a little scared to use clarifying shampoos, though. I feel like they'll strip my hair of all its natural oils.
I get it. But they're actually designed to be gentle enough for regular use, especially if you follow up with a good conditioner.
Okay, that makes me feel better. So we've got the right products. Any other tips for low porosity hair?
Using heat can really help open up those cuticles so your products can penetrate better.
Like a warm towel or something.
Yep, or a steamer if you have one. Just apply your products to damp hair and then let the heat work its magic for a few minutes.
Like a little spa treatment for your hair. I love
Yeah.
it. What about oils? Do those work for low porosity hair?
They can, but you got to be careful with the type of oil you use. Heavier oils, like coconut oil or shea butter, can actually make low porosity hair feel greasier because those cuticles are already so tightly packed.
So those are a no-go.
Not necessarily. You can still use them, but sparingly and maybe as a sealant after your water-based products have soaked in. And just make sure to clarify every now and then to avoid buildup.
Got it. So it's all about choosing the right oil for the job. What about medium porosity hair? What's the deal with that one?
Medium porosity hair is pretty much the ideal hair type. It's got a good balance of cuticles so it absorbs and retains moisture pretty easily.
Sounds like an easygoing friend everyone loves.
Exactly. It's pretty low maintenance and tends to work well with a lot of different products.
So if you have medium porosity, you don't really have to worry too much.
Well, you still want to have a good hair care routine, of course. Regular moisturizing and sealing are key to keeping that balance.
Makes sense. What about protein treatments? Are those necessary for medium porosity hair?
They can be helpful for any hair type, really. It's more like a supplemental boost, kind of like taking a vitamin.
So not an everyday thing, but good to do every once in a while.
Exactly. They help strengthen your hair and prevent breakage.
Okay, cool. I'm getting the sense that listening to your hair is super important no matter what your porosity is.
Absolutely. It's all about figuring out what your hair needs and adjusting your routine accordingly. Speaking of adjusting, let's talk about high porosity hair. This one can be a bit trickier, but totally manageable once you know how to handle it.
Okay, I'm ready for the challenge. What's the biggest thing to keep in mind with high porosity hair?
High porosity hair is kind of like a leaky faucet.
A leaky faucet. What do you mean?
It absorbs moisture really quickly, but it also loses it just as fast. Those raised cuticles create gaps in the hair shaft so the moisture can escape easily.
So that's why my hair always feels dry no matter how much conditioner I use.
Could be. And it can also be prone to frizz and breakage.
No fun. Okay, so how do we fix this leaky faucet situation?
Heavier products are your friend. Think rich butters, creamy leave-in conditioners, things that will create a barrier and seal in that moisture.
Got it. So it's like plugging up those leaks.
Exactly. And remember, humectants, those are important too because they actually draw moisture from the air into your hair.
Humectants. Vaguely rings a bell. Remind me what those are again?
They're like little moisture magnets. You'll find them in a lot of hair products. Glycerin, hyaluronic acid, honey, those are all good examples.
Okay, so humectants bring in the moisture, and then the heavier products seal it all in. Got it. Are there any specific ingredients that are especially good for high porosity hair?
For sure. For sealants, look for things like shea butter, cocoa butter, mango butter. They're all packed with fatty acids that create that protective barrier. And honey is a great natural humectant.
This is making me want to go through my whole hair care collection and see what's actually in my products. What about oils? Are there any oils that are good for high porosity hair?
Definitely. Heavier oils like Jamaican black castor oil, avocado oil, even coconut oil can be good for sealing and moisture.
Wait, I thought we said coconut oil wasn't good for low porosity hair.
Right. It's all about finding the right balance. For low porosity, it can be too heavy, but for high porosity, it can be a great sealant, especially when used in small amounts.
Porosity is so fascinating. It really is like a whole new way of looking at hair care. Okay, so we've talked a lot about products, but is there anything else that can affect porosity?
Oh yeah, for sure. Things like heat styling, chemical treatments, even the weather can all impact your hair's porosity.
Oh, interesting. So our porosity isn't necessarily set in stone.
Nope. It can definitely change over time.
That's good to know. I feel like I've made some hair mistakes in the past, but maybe there's hope for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about learning and adjusting as you go. And remember, hair care is a journey, not a destination.
I feel like we could talk about hair porosity for hours,
It really is a fascinating topic.
but I think we've covered pretty much everything right.
I think so.
Just to recap for everyone listening out there.
Yeah, let's do a quick rundown.
Hair porosity, it's all about how well your hair soaks up and holds on to moisture.
And it's determined by the structure of your hair cuticles, those tiny little scales that cover each strand.
We talked about the three main types, low, medium, and high.
Low porosity. Those cuticles are super tight, so it's hard for moisture to get in.
But it can also be prone to product buildup.
Exactly.
Then you've got medium porosity, which is kind of the sweet spot.
Nice and balanced.
And then high porosity, where the cuticles are more open, so moisture can get in easily, but it can also escape just as quickly.
It'll lead into dryness, frizz, all that fun stuff.
So knowing your porosity is basically like having a secret decoder ring for your hair.
It really is. It helps you choose the right products, the right techniques, and just overall understand how to care for your hair better.
No more buying a million products hoping one of them will work.
Exactly.
So now that we've armed everyone with all this knowledge, I have a question for our listeners.
Ooh, I like this.
What's one thing you're going to change about your hair care routine now that you know your porosity?
That's a great question.
Are you going to switch to lighter products if you have low porosity?
Or maybe try some heavier butters and creams if you're high porosity.
Or maybe you'll finally give that clarifying shampoo a try.
The possibilities are endless.
We want to hear all about your hair transformations.
Share your porosity discoveries, your favorite products, your styling tips.
Hit us up on social media. Let's keep this conversation going.
And remember, healthy hair is a journey, not a destination.
So be patient with your hair, have fun experimenting, and embrace your unique hair type.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Until next time.